Alright guys, we have reached the semifinals of the Miami Open. I have predicted 3 out of 4 of the semifinalists correctly. Dimitrov defeated Cerundolo in 3 sets, exactly like I predicted. Djokovic defeated Korda in straight sets, exactly like I predicted. Fritz defeated Berrettini in 3 sets. I thought that it would be straight sets, but Fritz had 6 match points in the second set and was up 6-3 in the tiebreak. So he absolutely could have won this in straight sets, but it ended up being more difficult, and he had to win it in the deciding set 7-5. So he is now 5 and love lifetime against Berrettini, but Berrettini has finally taken a set after losing 9 straight sets against Taylor Fritz, and he barely took that set. He had to fight with everything he had just to scrape it away after being down 6 match points in a set. But credit to him, he stayed in there, and he somehow stole that second set away, 9-7 in the tiebreak, after all those match points that Fritz had. But Fritz, he didn't let that rattle him, and he recovered and stayed steady in the final set to win that 7-5. Now, the only quarterfinal that I predicted completely incorrectly was Fils versus Mensik. I thought that Fils would win in 3 sets, but Mensik won in straight sets, so I got this completely wrong. And people were saying that Fils got messed up by the scheduling because he had to play the first match yesterday after he beat Zverev, and Mensik hadn't played for like 3 days or something like that. So I suppose that's a valid enough excuse, but I still don't like making those excuses like that. So rather than saying that, I think that I instead have discovered that Arthur Fils is a fraud. He probably should have beaten Medvedev in that Indian Wells quarterfinal, if we're being honest. I mean, Medvedev is the ultimate pusher. Fils was almost trying to push the pusher in that match. He was just spamming backhand slices. I don't know if that was the best strategy, and he just messed up on that final point, like we remember. He had that volley in the entire court, but he just wasn't expecting Medvedev to get the first volley back or something, and he ended up putting that volley long. All he had to do was tap it like literally anywhere on the court. But it appears that Fils is a fraud, so I will be more careful the next time I have to make a prediction about him. But nonetheless, we are on to the semifinals, which are Mensik versus Fritz and Djokovic versus Dimitrov. Mensik is the sort of surprise of this tournament, but it is not really that much of a surprise because, yeah, he is unseeded, the only unseeded player left in the draw, but people kind of realized the potential he had. He is a young kid, only 19 years old, and people were kind of already realizing this guy he's got game, he's got potential to get better, be top 10, and so on. So let's start predicting the semifinals, and first, let's start with the 4th seed Novak Djokovic against the 14th seed Grigor Dimitrov. The head-to-head is 12-1 for Djokovic, 8 love on hard courts, and Djokovic has won the last 10 matches in a row. Dimitrov has not defeated him since 2013 when he beat Djokovic in Madrid, and that was 12 years ago. That was the only time Dimitrov ever defeated Djokovic, that time in 2013 Madrid. So when you have a head-to-head like 12-1, it is kind of hard to pick the guy who won one time to win. So I'm not going to do that, and I think that Djokovic will win this in straight sets. He seems to know how to play against Dimitrov. Dimitrov has never defeated him on hard courts, hasn't defeated him for 12 years, and lost the last 10 matches, so it seems a safe bet to say that Djokovic will go to the final here. And I think he can do it in straight sets. He has still not dropped a set in the tournament in his, four matches. So he has won 8 sets in a row. He got close to losing a set in his match against Korda in the quarterfinals, Korda was serving for the second set at 5-3, but Djokovic was able to break back and then win another tiebreak, 7-4. So he has maintained his straight sets record at this tournament for this year, and I think he has the opportunity to be the oldest Masters champion if he wins. Maybe the oldest finalist, I'm not sure. But anyway, on to the other semifinal, which is the young Czech player Mensik against the third seed Fritz, the home hope, if you will, the last American man remaining, which is not a surprise because he's the highest ranked American man. Korda just got knocked out by Djokovic, but Korda was ranked lower than Fritz anyway. The head-to-head between these two is 1-love. They have faced once on hard courts, which was at the US Open in 2023. That may have been Mensik's first Grand Slam appearance, and he was 17, but he may have just turned 18 before playing Fritz or something like that. I think it might have been his birthday, or maybe the day after his birthday. And it wasn't the best birthday ever, because he got pasted. Fritz beat him like 1-2 in love or something like that. But I will not take much away from that match result, because that was the kid's first appearance in a Grand Slam or something like that. He was very young, just turned 18, and he's still very young. So he has improved a lot since then. So I will not take much away from that result. And I'm actually going to make somewhat of a bold prediction here. And I'm going to have Mensik beating Fritz in straight sets. Again, maybe a bit of a bold prediction, but the kid has looked good. I mean, he has only lost one set in the tournament. Granted, he had a walkover in the fourth round against Mahac, a match that was kind of 50-50. But he was able to defeat Feast in the quarterfinals afterwards. So he has only lost one set in his first round match against Bautista Agut, and then he went on to defeat Draper, who just won Indian Wells, in 2 tiebreaks. So yeah, these guys are not consistent, win one tournament, lose immediately in the next. That's a pretty normal thing, but that is still a pretty good win, top 10 win. That's an interesting thing. He seems to be quite good against top 10 players. If we look at his record, he is 6-5 against the top 10. So he has a positive head-to-head record against top 10 players. And he has already taken out a top 10 player in this tournament in the form of the Indian Wells champion, Jack Draper. So I think he can take out another Indian Wells champion, because Fritz won Indian Wells in 2022, and another top 10 player in Taylor Fritz. So I will actually have Mensik winning this match against Fritz in straight sets. Maybe I will be wrong, but I'm making that prediction. So I think we will have a final between the 4th seed Novak Djokovic and the Czech Jakub Mensik. And this will be a battle of old age versus youth, or experience versus youth, whatever. Old versus young. Djokovic, he is almost 38 years old, and Mensik is like 19. So he's basically twice his age. He's old enough to be like his father. So this is an even bigger difference than Djokovic and Alcaraz, Djokovic and Sinner, because Mensik is younger than both of those guys. So that will be an interesting final if we get it. But it can also be Taylor Fritz in the final, or it can be Grigor Dimitrov. Maybe he can shock us all. But the final that I will predict is Djokovic versus Mensik. I think both of these two will win their matches in straight sets, and this will be a banger of a final, as the kids say.